Okay, gonna get started. Hey everyone, you are, quite possibly watching the recording because of all of the issues that happened with the live call link. Still not sure if anyone is going to be able to make it to this call, but um, I've had so many issues that I really just want to get started and hopefully get the recording out to you before I travel. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching whenever you're watching. And I hope you find this call helpful. This is our monthly planning call for everyone who's new to Tuesday Trends. Every month, the first Tuesday of the month, I host this call, and it's less of, being extremely strict and to the plan, and it's more of a brainstorming, more of thinking about what's coming up and sharing what um, you could do for your shop this month. So it's really just about thinking ahead for the next 2 or 3 months. So that's one thing I emphasize all of the time. We look at what's coming up in terms of events and seasons, occasions in the current month as well as in the next couple of months. And that can be very, very overwhelming. It can feel like, oh my God, there's so much to do. And when am I ever going to do this? But you don't have to do all of that. The point of this call is to actually just help you look further ahead, help you to really see the whole range of options that you have, and then pick the ones that you want to work on, give you ideas that you could kind of just let sit in the back of your mind. So when something strikes you like, oh yes, this could work very well for this particular event, or I could use that positioning, or I could create this kind of product for this occasion, etc. So it's really more about thinking broadly and not about a checklist or doing everything that I share on this call today, right? So um, before we move to the actual, trends and product types, I wanted to just quickly, uh, share some quick wins with you. I briefly mentioned it in, one of my emails, but I think it's worth talking about in more detail. That um, I'm seeing a lot more activity in my Etsy shop since I did the 100 products in 30 days experiment. Of course, I never did 100 products. I ended up, I think, at 59 or something. And that was still pretty good, considering I was on Etsy every day. I was adding a whole lot of products and just kind of being active in the shop. So I am seeing a lot of sales of my smartphone planners and a fewer, but still regular sales of the 2026 calendar templates that I had put up. But what's different this time, especially smartphone planners, which I have been selling, every year around this time of year. What's different this time is that I'm seeing people picking up products that I had put up maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. Things like, bucket lists, spring bucket lists and summer bucket lists, which, it's just kind of strange that customers are buying those now. And then there's a moving planner. There are a couple of Notion templates. These are products that I put up a long time ago and which actually never really sold as such when I listed them, but now they're selling. So it's possible that Etsy is sharing my other products, when they see that the shop is more active, when they see that I'm adding more products. So it's possible that Etsy is surfacing some of my older products, and just kind of getting people to it. But I also think that people are kind of browsing and browsing the shop and looking at other products and looking at products that they find interesting. And here's why. Another big difference I noticed from previous years is that, you know, a lot of customers are actually selecting or favoriting 2, 3, or 4 smartphone planners before they actually buy one. And I find that very interesting. Somebody did even buy 2 smartphone planners, which I thought was interesting. But I find people favoriting multiple products, which again to me indicates that they're not just landing on one product and then going back to the home page to look at what else is out there, but they are clicking on your shop link, and which is something I haven't observed as much before. So the good news is that if you have a couple of products that are very active, that hit the front page, then the chances of all of your other products getting sold are much higher. Don't just kind of think that it's done and it never sold when I launched it, so it's never going to sell again. The Notion templates, especially, I think I listed 4 or 5 as an experiment almost 2 years ago. And I made one sale. I was clear about the keywords, the listing images. I think the listing images could have been better. Hey Tracy, thank you for joining me.
Hello.
Hey, welcome, welcome. And I'm sorry, I kind of just got started because I wasn't sure if anyone was going to join after all of the issues with the link. But yes, I was sharing that, I'm seeing a lot more activity with my Etsy shop since I did the 100 products in 30 days experiment. I didn't do 100 products, I ended up at 50 something. But I'm seeing more sales, more consistent sales. I'm seeing that people are buying products which I listed 2, 3, 4 years ago, not even products that I listed now. Yeah, that's interesting thing. And I also note, and I was thinking that it may be that it's possible, very much possible that Etsy is surfacing some of the other products, when they see more activity in the shop. But I'm also seeing that people are favoriting 3, 4, 5, or rather 2 or 3 smartphone planners before they actually buy one, which again to me indicates that people are clicking through the shop, they're browsing to see what else you have. And so my takeaway is essentially that if you have a couple of products that are doing well, um, even products that you listed a long time ago that didn't do well, especially my Notion templates, which is what I was talking about, which I listed in 2022 and didn't really sell at all at that time. But I just left them there, and suddenly I'm seeing a couple of sales of those come through last weeks. It's, I can't say that this is exactly what's happening, but I think, older products still have a chance when your newer products do well. So that was something I was sharing um, um, about my quick wins. And yes, if you wanted to share something, that's your this is your chance. But anything you'd like to add, and if you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. I don't want to put you on the spot. You're still on mute. I'm sorry. You're again on mute.
I don't know how I keep hitting the button. Okay. Um I no, I'm still very new to the digital product arena. But I've just made it a goal, for 2026 to just step it up.
Mhm,
And I do have Etsy shop with very little sales. But
mhm,
something that you had mentioned about those products that just haven't haven't sold, and then all of a sudden that they do, I guess that was my question to you, is that because I have, obviously I have so many products on there that just have not sold whatsoever.
mhm,
And so I was just wondering if I should just renew them, or because I was thinking like maybe I should just take them down. But
mhm.
now you have me thinking, well, maybe I just need to leave them there.
Yeah, I would totally say leave them there. I have this kind of checklist that it's somewhere in all of my resources. I need to check where it is, but it's like the way I see it is when you search for your keyword, is your product showing up on the first page? If so, and this is especially when it's new, but if it's not new, you can still search for it and see if it's showing up you know in the second or third pages. But if it's not on the first page, maybe time to just refresh the keywords a bit and just kind of experiment with the keywords and the title a bit. If it is showing up but it's not getting any visitors, that's when the mockup needs to be improved, because it means that it's not really catching attention on the first page. No one's really even seeing it, even if it is on the first page. And if you're if it's showing up, people are clicking through, but they're not actually buying. Maybe they're favoriting, maybe they're not, but they're not actually buying. And that's when you start looking at the description. That's when you start looking at your pricing and how it compares with other products that are on the first page. And not just the pricing, but in terms of what your product offers. Is there something that is even more compelling compared to the other products that they might be clicking to? So that's the way I would. And again, all of this is assuming that these are products that have demand, and not just fun products.
So which was that guide again that you mentioned that I can probably take a look? Or
I will send it to you. It is one of my freebies somewhere. Yeah, I will send it to you. Yeah, I'll send it to you. It's pretty, like where in the customer journey are you losing them? So, and it's very, very basic. It's not a very polished document. I'll send it over to you after this call.
okay, thank you.
No problem at all. But yes, again, the assumption is that these are products that people want and that are in demand and not just, something that is just being done for the sake of doing it. So, and Tracy, since you're new here, just wanted to reiterate, but I do this call every month, and pretty much every month someone says that this is overwhelming. There is just so much. But the idea behind this call is not to give you a checklist of doing all of these, occasions and seasons and everything, but just to give you ideas so that you can think ahead to the next 2 or 3 months and start planning what your products might be, what you could be putting together, so that you capture the demand early and not, kind of be like, oh, Christmas is in 2 weeks and I don't have any Christmas products in the shop. Um, so that's the idea. So, um, yes. And again, I think this question is something I tell people to think about. You know, if you already have something that's pretty much done, close to being done, it's easier to kind of get it through that 20% and just kind of get it up than to start from scratch and build something completely new if you don't have it. So let's go to the December plan. And again, a lot of this overlaps with what I shared in November. So I think in November, I kind of went an extra month to February, but this is really what I would focus on in December as well. Some of these dates have already passed, World AIDS Day and all of that. But the big holidays, the winter solstice, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, these are the occasions that are big for pretty much almost all kinds of printable products. And and again, these are very, very competitive. So I wouldn't really recommend it at this time, especially Christmas and Halloween tend to be among the most competitive events in the year. But that's it. It's still all right to start, especially if you are doing things like clip art or if you have party printables, if you have a New Year resolution planners, vision board kits, vision boards, you can definitely start looking at them for New Year's Day and January products. And similarly, dry January. So this really started more as a kind of people scaling back or stepping back from all of the big events of the holiday season and kind of trying to get back into dieting and everything. But again, that's a big opportunity for people to get back into habits, get back into the routines that they want to have in the year going forward. And then there's Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Australian Open tennis, which again are good opportunities for clip arts, for greeting cards, for posters, and all of that. And I think I also mentioned tennis bachelorette as a party theme that I was seeing. So um, Australian Open tennis is a good opportunity to kind of for people who are interested in tennis, they definitely be looking at Australian Open as one of the uh, first events of the year. February, again, Winter Olympics is a big one. So another sports themed, another opportunity for sports themed products. Valentine's Day, of course, is a big one. And, probably add Galentine's to the mix. Although it's not a big festival by itself, but it's still quite popular among the people who opt for Etsy products. Right? Among the type of customers who shop on Etsy, Galentine's is definitely big. Largely women who are looking for party products and occasions to kind of socialize and all of that. So Galentine's is definitely something you can look at. And then there's President's Day, Mardi Gras, which and Ramadan, all of these are more localized. They're not as global as Valentine's Day, but still there's people who would be interested in products for these events. And there's something I saw called School Bus Driver Appreciation Day, which for people in the kids printables niche or the education niche, that might be something to consider as well. February is also Black History Awareness Month, Library Lovers Month, LGBTQ History Month, and National Time Management Month. So if you are into productivity and goals and goal setting and all of that, are definitely worth looking at this. So okay, this should, yeah, I'm leaving it there. But starting, if you're designing in December and if you're putting up new products, or focus on things that are coming up in late Jan and February, you can even still look at New Year's products, simply because people, even in the middle of Jan or even in late Jan, early Feb, they are still looking at, getting back on track with their resolutions. They're looking for trackers, they're looking for printables that will help them to, um, or vision boards that will help them to make 2026 better um, than they had, um, than the start to the year. So it's definitely fine to put them up. Um, but Valentine's Day, I'm seeing products that, um, that apply to all ages, especially kids. So it's not so much of the romantic and extremely couplesy kind of products anymore, but also a lot of kids products for Valentine's Day and friendship themed products, Valentine cards for teachers, etc., or classmates. These are all starting to get popular. And many of my Tuesday Trends ideas in December also are also, related to the same. Valentine's Day for all ages and different kinds of relationships, including for your pets. And same thing for Galentine's, party invites, party games, brunch invites, flyers. All of these are again popular for Galentine's Day. I'd say the only issue I have with both of these is that demand simply drops off a cliff after both of these. So unlike all of the other, most of the other events for Valentine's and Galentine's, unfortunately, it just kind of drops immediately after these two dates. Weddings and engagement products, these pick up after Valentine's, as people use Valentine's Day as, milestone to get engaged, or sometimes they get engaged soon after Valentine's and they start planning their weddings. So all kinds of wedding products, all kind of engagement products, you can definitely start thinking of those, especially for spring, summer, and fall. Spring and summer especially, you can start putting together wedding products for that season. Self-care is, as I was thinking, it's for people who unfortunately did not have the Valentine's Day that they were hoping for various reasons, where it just didn't work out. And so, or maybe they are going through some kind of a loss, and Valentine's Day can be really hard when you're in that, very emotional kind of situation. And so self-care products or self-care related themes, journals or planners, affirmation cards, these are all products that could appeal to customers who are in that situation as well. And then again, I have this list of things like gift tags, labels, recipe cards, family reunion games, invitations. These are almost kind of generic, all occasions, all seasons. You can simply kind of create the same product, say gift tag, and you can stack them for all of the different seasons that we're talking about. There's Christmas and Friendsmas. Friendsgiving was big, but now we're seeing Friendsmas coming up as well, which might be, if you're still looking at Christmas products, Friendsmas might be the better option since that's not as crowded. Spiritual themed products, I must say, or faith themed products actually. So there's definitely interest in spiritual themed products like crystals and magic and all of that, which again we see at certain times of the year. But Halloween is a big one for that. Start of the year when people are looking at planners and printables and journals. Again, a time for people to start kind of looking inward and looking at spiritual products that help them to. I would even add moon planners here. All of these are things that would be interesting now. Faith themed products, I mean, what I have been seeing recently is these are popular through the year. The format might differ, the actual location might differ, but we're seeing them kind of popping up for every kind of product, especially faith themed products for kids seem to be doing very well across, all through the year. Galentine's, of course, I already talked about, so I'm not going to be mentioning it again here. But the newsletter, or more specifically, the newspaper type layout, that is that is still very much in demand. Even, for Christmas newspapers, for I think we saw Father's no, sorry. We saw birth announcement newspapers, we saw pregnancy announcement newspapers. I saw a few other newspaper wedding announcements. So newspaper products are definitely popular. Handprint and footprint products, especially baby's first Valentine's Day, baby's first Christmas, baby's first Easter, etc., as well as for toddlers. These are very popular again, but mainly because they tick the boxes of personalization and they are emotionally appealing to extended family members. And also they are keepsakes, for as kids grow up and babies grow up. 2026 calendars and planners, the best time to list them was in September and October, but it's still okay to put them up now, especially planners. If you have unique planners, if you have themed journals, if you have planners that appeal to a certain demographic or a certain hobby or a certain identity, definitely put them up because people do buy them through at least the end of the first quarter as they're still trying to kind of get themselves on track. And at the end of the first quarter is when you can start thinking about mid-year planners and 18-month planners, 18-month calendars, and all of that. What else do I have? Yeah, I think that would be it for planners and calendars. Again, these are my favorite types of products. So I think for me, I'm happy to just put them up anytime they come up. But if you're looking at demand, December, January is a season of the highest demand for planners and calendars, but they still sell through the year. There is no particular time when they're not in demand at all. Themed journals, again, through the year, but especially in the first month, as people are looking at themes of self-growth, self-reflection, self-development, etc., totally worth creating and putting up. And then in the new year itself, all of the pretty much every product gets a kind of boost in the new year. Products relating to career and education as people think about what they want to achieve by the end of the year, where they want to be in the coming year, all kind of goal setting and planning, journals, vision boards, budgeting and finance tracker templates. Again, very much in demand through the year, but especially the start of the year as people try to kind of decide that financial planning is one of their goals for the year. Motivational quotes, affirmation cards, all of these would be popular as well. And finally, if you are selling products in the B2B niche, branding kits, planners, and social media kits, for people who want to get started with their new business in the new year, they would be looking for products that help them to get started faster. And so it's a good time to offer these types of products. Winter Olympics, Black History Month, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, all of these are good topics for classroom bulletin boards, which I have been noticing they are quite, very, very themed bulletin boards seem to be doing very well. Customers are buying them for their classrooms. So both of these, both Winter Olympics, Black History Month, and yes, I'm sorry, also Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But these are educational topics and cultural topics, and there's ways to kind of make them more exciting in the classroom. And so if you are in the kids or education niche, definitely consider creating bulletin boards for these. If you are kind of overwhelmed by that, my best suggestion would be to pick one of the bulletin boards that I have created earlier. I think the Thanksgiving bulletin board is it is already in your products area. You would have received it in October or November. So you can simply use that as the template and you can repurpose that for Winter Olympics or Black History Month, etc. You will need to find the patterns and the actual elements that go into it and the colors and all of that. But if you're just looking for something to get started with, use the Thanksgiving bulletin board templates that you already have access to. And I haven't decided on creating this, but I might just create more bulletin board kits because I did have fun creating the first batch. So that's things that you could design for. And in terms of design and aesthetic trends, I think these are things that I have been kind of talking about through the years. So not a lot of new ones, except dark academia, which I noticed very, very recently and which I think has been kind of more underground. It's not been as loud as, for example, the disco cowgirl. It's not really something that appeals to kids' birthday parties, but it does appeal to women, and it appeals to more of people who identify with academic themes, more of scientific themes. We are seeing a lot more of that. So definitely another design theme you could consider for your planners. I wouldn't recommend that for your party printables, but definitely for some of your planners and journals, you could definitely dark academia. But everything else that we've seen so far, especially retro, vintage, Christmas, maximalist wall art, all of these are still very popular and continuing to see a demand for personalized and customized gifts, especially because pretty much everything can be bought, on Amazon these days. So people are looking for something that is unique and something that has the receiver's name or something about the receiver that will appeal to them. So that's what I have for today. Tracy, I'm going to stop sharing and you will have these documents as well in your dashboard. Any questions or anything before we wrap up?
No, I do. I have no questions.
Thank you. Thanks for staying and thanks for joining me despite all of the confusion. And for everyone who's listening to the recording, again, sorry about all of that confusion, but I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has given you a few things to think about and not stress over the holidays, but still kind of keep working on your Etsy store and be a little more focused in terms of what you do and whether that's Etsy or other platforms. I hope this gives you some thoughts. So I think that's it. I'm going to just end the recording. I will send the recording out to you um, within a day's time because I'm traveling after that. So I will get it out to you before I go. But yes, anything else? If you have any questions, just shoot me a mail. I'm not doing Voxer days this month. I'm also not doing audits this month, but please send me mails. I will get to them every couple of days and reply to you. So thanks so much again. Have a very nice evening, Tracy. Have a very nice day, everybody else, and bye for now.